When disaster strikes, the world watches in horror. Images of devastation fill our screens, and the urgent need for aid becomes undeniably clear. While governments and international organizations play vital roles in disaster response, it is often the unsung heroes, the non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that are the first on the ground, providing immediate relief and long-term support to those affected. These organizations, driven by compassion and a commitment to humanitarian aid, work tirelessly to alleviate suffering and rebuild shattered lives. NGOs are essential partners in international disaster management, bridging the gap between large-scale aid efforts and the specific needs of communities. Their strength lies in their ability to operate with flexibility and local knowledge, often reaching remote areas and marginalized populations that larger institutions struggle to access. From providing food, water, and medical care in the immediate aftermath of a disaster to supporting long-term reconstruction and community development, NGOs are instrumental in all phases of disaster response. Their work is not merely about providing aid, it is about empowering communities to recover, rebuild, and become more resilient in the face of future challenges. NGOs understand that true recovery goes beyond physical reconstruction and must address the social, economic, and psychological impacts of disasters. By working closely with affected communities, NGOs ensure that aid is delivered effectively and that long-term solutions are sustainable and tailored to local needs. This essay will delve into the crucial role of NGOs in international disaster management, highlighting their unique contributions, the challenges they face, and recommendations for enhancing their effectiveness in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. By understanding the vital role of NGOs, we can better appreciate their contributions and work towards creating a more effective and coordinated global response to disasters. One of the most critical aspects of disaster response is speed. In the immediate aftermath of a disaster, when chaos reigns and every second counts, NGOs are often the first on the scene, providing life-saving aid and support. Their agility and ability to mobilize quickly stem from their deep roots in local communities and their pre-existing networks of staff and volunteers. While governments and international organizations grapple with logistical challenges and bureaucratic hurdles, NGOs are already on the ground, drawing on their local knowledge and established relationships to deliver aid swiftly and efficiently. This rapid response is exemplified in the aftermath of the devastating 2010 Haiti earthquake. Organizations like Doctors Without Borders and Partners in Health immediately deployed medical teams and set up mobile clinics to provide urgent care to the injured. They navigated the rubble-strewn streets, reaching those in need with remarkable speed and efficiency. This ability to act swiftly is often a matter of life and death in the critical hours and days following a disaster. Beyond their speed, NGOs bring invaluable local expertise to disaster response. They understand the cultural nuances, social dynamics, and specific needs of the communities they serve. This local knowledge is crucial for ensuring that aid is delivered in a culturally sensitive and appropriate manner, avoiding missteps that can arise from a lack of understanding of local customs and practices. Furthermore, NGOs often have long-standing relationships with local communities, built on trust and mutual understanding. This trust is essential for effective disaster response, as it allows NGOs to access affected populations, gather accurate information about their needs, and ensure that aid reaches those who need it most. In many cases, this deep community connection makes NGOs more approachable and less intimidating than larger, more formal institutions, facilitating open communication and collaboration. NGOs bring a diverse range of specialized skills and expertise to disaster management, addressing both the immediate and long-term needs of affected communities. From medical professionals and engineers to logisticians and psychosocial support workers, NGOs assemble teams with the specific skills required to respond effectively to the multifaceted challenges posed by disasters. This expertise is essential for providing not only immediate relief, but also for supporting long-term recovery and rebuilding efforts. For instance, in the aftermath of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, NGOs like Oxfam and Save the Children played crucial roles in rebuilding homes, schools, and infrastructure. They provided not only construction materials and technical assistance, but also training and support to help communities rebuild their lives and livelihoods. This holistic approach, addressing both the physical and socio-economic aspects of recovery, is a hallmark of effective NGO work. Moreover, NGOs are at the forefront of promoting community-based disaster preparedness, recognizing that empowering communities to help themselves is essential for building long-term resilience. They work with local communities to develop disaster preparedness plans, conduct training on first aid, search and rescue, and safe construction practices, and establish early warning systems. By equipping communities with the knowledge and skills to prepare for and respond to disasters, NGOs help to mitigate the impact of future events and foster a culture of self-reliance. This emphasis on community empowerment is rooted in the understanding that sustainable disaster management requires the active participation of those most affected. NGOs recognize that communities are not merely passive recipients of aid, but active agents of change, capable of contributing to their own recovery and building a more resilient future. By fostering local leadership, promoting community ownership of projects, and ensuring that aid efforts are aligned with community priorities, NGOs lay the groundwork for sustainable and locally driven development. Effective disaster management requires seamless coordination and collaboration among a diverse array of actors, including governments, international organizations, local communities, and NGOs themselves. NGOs play a vital role in facilitating this coordination, acting as bridges between different stakeholders and ensuring that efforts are aligned and complementary. They share information, expertise, and resources, working together to maximize the impact of aid and avoid duplication of efforts. For example, during the 2014 to 2016 Ebola outbreak in West Africa, NGOs like Partners in Health worked closely with the World Health Organization and local governments to contain the spread of the virus. They provided medical expertise, set up treatment centers, trained healthcare workers, and conducted community outreach to educate the public about prevention measures. This collaboration was essential for effectively responding to the crisis and ultimately halting the outbreak. NGOs also play a crucial role in advocating for policy changes and holding governments accountable for their disaster response efforts. They monitor the situation on the ground, document human rights violations, and raise awareness about the plight of affected populations. By amplifying the voices of those most affected, NGOs help to ensure that disaster response is guided by principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence. Furthermore, NGOs often work together, pooling their resources and expertise to tackle complex challenges. This collaboration allows them to undertake larger-scale projects, share best practices, and learn from each other's experiences. By fostering a spirit of partnership and mutual support, NGOs create a powerful network of organizations dedicated to alleviating suffering and building a more resilient world. Section 5. Real-world examples of NGO action. The life-saving and community rebuilding work of NGOs is evident in countless disaster responses around the world. Their swift action, local knowledge, and specialized skills have made a tangible difference in the lives of millions affected by natural disasters, conflicts, and disease outbreaks. These real-world examples illustrate the diversity of NGO involvement and the profound impact of their work. In the wake of the 2013 Typhoon Haiyan, which devastated the Philippines, NGOs played a pivotal role in providing immediate relief and supporting long-term recovery. Organizations like Shelterbox provided emergency shelter and essential supplies to displaced families, while Oxfam focused on restoring water and sanitation facilities. These efforts were crucial for preventing the spread of disease and providing a safe and dignified environment for those who had lost their homes. Following the 2015 Nepal earthquake, NGOs like Handicap International provided vital support to people with disabilities who are often disproportionately affected by disasters. They distributed assistive devices, provided rehabilitation services, and advocated for accessible reconstruction efforts. This focus on inclusivity and addressing the needs of marginalized groups is a hallmark of effective disaster response. The Syrian civil war, which has raged for over a decade, has created one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. NGOs like the Syrian American Medical Society, SAMS, have been providing essential medical care to civilians caught in the conflict, operating hospitals and clinics in besieged areas and providing life-saving treatment to those injured by the violence. Their courage and commitment in the face of immense challenges exemplify the humanitarian spirit that drives NGO work. Section 6. Funding challenges and bureaucratic hurdles. Despite their indispensable role in disaster management, NGOs face significant challenges that can hinder their effectiveness. One of the most pressing issues is funding. NGOs rely heavily on donations from individuals, foundations, and governments, which can be unpredictable and often come with strings attached. This reliance on external funding can limit their autonomy, force them to prioritize short-term projects over long-term development goals, and make it difficult to plan and implement sustainable programs. Furthermore, navigating the complex bureaucracy of international aid can be a daunting task for NGOs. Applying for grants, complying with reporting requirements, and coordinating with multiple stakeholders can be time-consuming and resource-intensive, diverting valuable time and energy away from frontline work. The bureaucratic procedures of UN agencies and government donors, while often well-intentioned, can sometimes be cumbersome and slow, delaying the delivery of vital aid to those who need it most. These challenges are exacerbated by the fact that disaster response is often underfunded. While disasters attract significant media attention and public outcry in the immediate aftermath, this attention often wanes over time, leading to a decline in funding just when it is most needed for long-term recovery and reconstruction efforts. This funding gap can force NGOs to make difficult choices, potentially compromising the quality or scope of their programs. Section 7. Security concerns and coordination complexities. Operating in disaster-affected areas, particularly in conflict zones, poses significant security risks for NGO personnel. Political instability, violence, and the presence of armed groups can create dangerous environments, putting aid workers at risk of kidnapping, assault, or even death. These security concerns can limit NGOs' access to vulnerable populations, delay the delivery of aid, and force them to scale back their operations, depriving those in need of essential support. Furthermore, coordinating the efforts of multiple actors in a disaster response can be a complex and challenging undertaking. With different organizations having different mandates, priorities, and ways of working, ensuring effective communication, information sharing, and collaboration requires careful planning, strong leadership, and a shared commitment to working together. In the absence of effective coordination, efforts can be duplicated, resources wasted, and aid delivery delayed, undermining the overall effectiveness of the response. These challenges are further compounded by the increasing frequency and intensity of disasters, driven by climate change and other factors. As the world faces more frequent and severe droughts, floods, storms, and heat waves, the demand for humanitarian aid is likely to increase, putting further strain on already stretched resources and testing the capacity of the international community to respond effectively. Section 8. Recommendations for enhanced effectiveness. Despite these challenges, NGOs remain essential actors in international disaster management. To enhance their effectiveness and ensure that they can continue to provide vital support to those in need, several recommendations can be implemented. Strengthened partnerships. Fostering stronger partnerships between NGOs, UN agencies, governments, and local communities is crucial. This includes establishing clear lines of communication, sharing information and expertise, and coordinating efforts to avoid duplication and maximize impact. Increased and flexible funding, securing more reliable and flexible funding mechanisms for NGOs is essential. Donors should consider providing multi-year grants, reducing reporting requirements, and allowing NGOs greater flexibility in how they use funds to respond to evolving needs. Streamlined bureaucratic processes. Simplifying UN procedures for partnering with and funding NGOs can expedite aid delivery and reduce administrative burdens. This includes streamlining grant application processes, harmonizing reporting requirements, and promoting greater transparency and accountability. Enhanced community engagement. Placing communities at the center of disaster response is crucial. NGOs should prioritize community-led initiatives, empower local organizations, and ensure that aid efforts are aligned with community priorities and needs. Utilize digital platforms and technologies. Leveraging technology can improve coordination, communication, and data sharing among NGOs and other stakeholders. This includes using mobile platforms for data collection, online platforms for information sharing, and mapping technologies to track needs and resources. By implementing these recommendations, the international community can create a more supportive and enabling environment for NGOs, allowing them to focus on what they do best: providing life-saving aid, supporting long-term recovery, and empowering communities to build a more resilient future. Section 9. Conclusion: the indispensable role of NGOs. In conclusion, NGOs play an indispensable role in international disaster management. Their swift action, local expertise, specialized skills, and commitment to community empowerment make them essential partners in responding to the world's most pressing humanitarian challenges. While they face significant challenges, including funding constraints, bureaucratic hurdles, security risks, and coordination complexities, their dedication and impact are undeniable. By strengthening partnerships, increasing flexible funding, streamlining bureaucratic processes, enhancing community engagement, and utilizing technology, the international community can empower NGOs to fulfill their vital mission. As the world faces increasingly complex and interconnected challenges, including the growing threat of climate change, the role of NGOs in disaster management will only become more critical. Supporting their work is not merely a matter of charity, it is an investment in a more just, equitable, and resilient future for all.